It is Election Day 2022. And as is often the case on election days in the United States, everyone has their take, everyone has their view, everyone likes to say this is the one thing that this is really all about. It's really, in times past, it's really a referendum on Trump. Or this is really about corporations versus individuals or whatever. And almost always there really is no one thing. And so I've resisted that type of language. But this time, there really kind of is the one big thing. The one big thing at stake here today is, are we going to make a move in the direction of being for democracy, where the candidate that gets the most votes wins and assumes office without controversy? Or are we going to make another move away from democracy, where even if you don't get the most votes, people claim you should still assume the office you ran for, and they may even be able to make it a reality if we aren't careful and if we don't make the correct votes today? That is fundamentally what today's election is about. Imagine 20, 50, 100 years from now, and think about today as an inflection point. One story that could be told is, well, Trump came to power in 2016. He was defeated in 2020 after a very dangerous 4 years of insanity. And then the MAGA movement moved in 2022, took over the Senate and or House, a bunch of the governor's houses. Then as a result of that, was able to steal an election in 2024, leading to the end of American democracy as we knew it in 2028 and on downhill from there, right? That's one story that, if we think about today as an inflection point, could be told 20, 50, 100 years from now. There's a different story which could be told, again, because it's an inflection point. It could be Trump did come to power in 2016 and then was defeated in 2020 after that very same dangerous 4 years of insanity. But then in 2022, a little bit of sanity returned. There's still tens of millions of lunatics, and we see them all the time. But a little bit, just enough sanity returned that the tens of millions of anti-democracy lunatics were defeated on November 8th, 2022. Absolute disaster was just barely averted. And then things got onto a more logical path in 26 and in 24, 26, 28, et cetera. It's a divergence point. It's an inflection point. And those are two possible stories that could be told. Consider these contrasts. Rolling Stone's Azawin Subsang and Patrick Rice are reporting that, quote, Trump is calling Republicans to ask how many times they will impeach Biden if they win tonight. Think of that. Now, on the other hand, Joe Biden and Barack Obama have been touring the country saying, we need to save democracy. This is not fundamentally about, should the top tax rate on the richest Americans be 35, 37, or 39%? That's a question. It's a perfectly reasonable question. And at times past, we talked a lot about questions like that. We're dealing with something very different here. Okay. Now, by the way, in the meantime, Joe Biden is predicting that Democrats win on the basis of an improving economy. That's also possible. We just don't know based on the polling right now. The pollsters really don't know, and we're going to talk about that next. But before we do that, I really hope every single one of you that votes in the United States has already voted or is planning to vote. And I keep getting this in my email. David, I care about what's happening, but one vote never makes a difference. These elections never come down to one vote, so it's really hard to feel like my vote actually matters. And I've been talking about this on our streams lately. I understand that feeling. I think the same thing. When has a gubernatorial race or a Senate race come down to a single vote? Therefore, my vote doesn't matter. Wrong. The way you have to think about it is as follows. Tons of people have that thought. Tons of people consider staying home because it never comes down to one vote. And they all say, my vote isn't going to make the difference here. Think about that as a group you're a part of. And once you think about it that way, elections often come down to, do the people who wonder, is my vote going to make a difference? Does that constituency, does that group stay home or vote? We all have that thought. If every one of us who thought, it never comes down to one vote, I'll stay home. If we all do stay home, we lose a bunch of elections that we could win, okay? So don't fall for my vote doesn't make a difference. That's another way that these right-wingers like to suppress the vote. Don't let them do it. We'll have results live tonight on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook starting at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 on the West Coast. If you have a friend or loved one who is passionate about the environment, here is a perfect holiday gift. Our sponsor, Established Titles, is a project that lets you ceremonially purchase as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land in Edelston, Scotland, so that you can call yourself a lord or a lady, like the historic Scottish tradition. Some people even change their plane tickets or credit cards to include lord or lady. Your title pack comes with an official certificate. You can see exactly where your plot of land is located. It makes a perfect last-minute gift. But most importantly, Established Titles plants 1 free tree for every plot of land sold. Established Titles does really good work all over the world with reforestation organizations like One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future. So you'll have a great laugh whether you're Scottish or not. I'm not. But you're giving the gift of reforestation to fight climate change. If you use my link, you'll get 10% off, and your plot of land will be right next to mine. You can see it on a map. Go to establishedtitles.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman for an extra 10% off on top of their Black Friday deal. The link is down below.